Hi, this is Trish Kendall with Choose and Become. When I ride my Echelon bike early in the mornings around the weekends, it's when I really get caught up on all the articles that I want to read that come through and I flag them. And I have a colleague who sends me articles from The Athletic Peak. So I'll put this in the post, but The Athletic Peak. And this one is the many mistakes of a first time head coach. So the author is Jason Jenks. I should definitely point that out. And now Mike Neighbors is the head coach that he's talking about. And Mike Neighbors is a list maker of movies, TV shows, and to-dos. But this article is a list that Mike Neighbors had put together of all the mistakes he made in his first season. So back up and then I'll move forward. In his first, so he was the head basketball coach for the University of Washington for the women's basketball team in 2013. So it's that year that he made this list. Now let's continue on. He took Washington and Kelsey Plum to the Final Four, I think the next season or maybe 2 seasons after that. And then he spent 7 seasons as Arkansas's head coach. And now he's an assistant coach for the WNBA for Dallas. So let's listen to this guy. Anyways, so he writes this list. He writes all this stuff down his first year as head coach at the University of Washington. And he comes up with like 418, maybe? Yeah, 418 things of mistakes. Now he presented his learnings, his lessons at a coaching convention in 2014. And so he chunked these 418 things into 12 buckets. And so this article is taking those 12, and then the author, Jason, highlights 4 of those. So I'm going to post this, but like some of his lessons that he chunked into the 12. I assumed being an assistant coach would prepare you to be a head coach. All right, so could think about that. I told people the truth before I had earned their trust. That's the one that I'm really thinking about right now. But I'm going to just read off a couple more and then go back to that. I got out of shape. I got out of alignment between process and results. I tried to do too many things. I was afraid to do what I thought best. Okay, and then it goes on. Now, the one that I keep thinking about, one of them I keep thinking about is I told people the truth before I had earned their trust. Now, everybody in my community, all my clients know that when I facilitate workshops and coaching around establishing trust-based relationships between individuals, I will ask people, what are the characteristics or the behaviors of people that they trust? And I oftentimes hear people who are candid, people who give direct feedback, people who don't beat around the bush. You know that what they say is what they mean. And right, I feel the same way. And there's studies and proof that would say, that obviously being candid and forthright helps to establish trust. What I think is interesting, though, I wish I got to dive into this to know, to get a beat below into what he's saying, because my assumption in this is if I told people the truth before I had earned their trust, my assumption and when I'm thinking about that is I told people what they were doing wrong. I told people how they could do it better. I told people what my opinion was. I told people what to think or how to do it. And yes, those things are candid and direct, but I could see his point of, in order for someone to embrace, accept, acknowledge, digest, and act upon those truth statements, there's got to be a level of trust. Like, I trust the person who is saying this to me. Now, of course, there's authority. And if he's the head coach, like, he has authority. However, just because I should do something doesn't mean I want to. And that could add friction. Anyways, what I think is interesting is his recognition. Just because he can speak the truth, just because he is in a position as a head coach and he could say, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, this is what we're going to do. His acknowledgement and experience that most likely lands better, is more sticky, more enduring, if the person has a level of trust, if that person trusts him, if that player trusts him, if those players trust him, if this assistant coach trusts him, whatever it might be. So this is just a question for us to ponder. What is the balance between being candid and direct and speaking your truth and acknowledging and assessing when is the right time and moment with that individual to speak that truth in a way that you want it to land and be embraced and accepted and maybe even acted upon. I don't know. I just don't think it's simple, but I think it requires some reflection and awareness. So that's the one that I'm thinking about right now. I told people the truth before I had earned their trust. More to come on this, because these 12 are worthy of diving into as we think about ourselves, at work, as leaders, as managers, whether that's informal or formal, people who want others to follow us. We want to guide people. We want to help. We want to influence and persuade. In the right way. We might see what someone else should do before they see it. But we got to get them to see it themselves. So it's something to ponder. This is his number 2 on the list. I told people the truth before I had earned their trust. Thanks for being along this journey with me. Choose and become.